In this episode, we are getting another dose of random 80s awesomeness. This time from the world of monsters. So, stick around. Hello, fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob, and as you can see, I don't have my hat on. Simple reason, a viewer commented that I never go without my hat. So I thought, here it is. This is what my hat is hiding. Baldness. So anyway, so now I can say I finally did it without the hat, but the hat's coming back. Anyway, in this episode we are going to be looking at more random 80s awesomeness, but this time all within the world of monsters. And believe me, it was very hard finding 10 random bits of monster awesomeness out there. I mean, for one different monster franchise, there were a lot of different things, but not enough to have a dedicated episode to it. Same thing with some other ones. There were some very popular monster toys out there during the 80s, and surprisingly, there was no awesomeness to be found. So, this required a little bit more research, a little bit more digging, and yeah, some liberties were taken, and you'll see what I mean. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to number one. Our first bit of awesomeness comes from Colorforms in the year 1984. This is a twofer because there were two styles released. First is the basic Gremlins Colorform set. In this set, you get Billy's bedroom. And you can see in this picture someone decided to throw on a Colorform dollar for some reason. These are the stick-ons that it came with, and I couldn't find a complete set in one place, so we will do a couple different ones so we can see what all was offered. And you get some really cool Mogwais and Gremlins with this set. Now the second one is a deluxe set, and we go from Billy's bedroom to now the outside of his house. And this one is very gremlin heavy, which is awesome. You have the gremlins, you have a snowman that they can knock the head off of. I mean, this is a fun little playground for the gremlins to play in. And yeah, I wish I would have had these growing up. I mean, I'm such a huge Gremlins fan. Yeah, I would love to find these. And let's take a look at the prices. And for both sets, we'll see if they're affordable. Okay, our next bit of monstrous awesomeness is kind of sort of cheating, because it's not monsters per se, but ghosts. This is the real Ghostbusters sleeping bag, released in 1989. And I love the vibrant, colorful artwork on it. I mean, the slime dripping down from the top, the various ghostly monsters that they're getting ready to attack Slimer. I mean, everyone looks great, but there's definitely someone missing. Winston. I mean, what the heck? Always forgotten, and I can't stand for it. But anyway, this sleeping bag, it's pretty rad. And I think any kid that was a fan of the real Ghostbusters would have loved to kick it at a sleepover with this. Our third bit of awesomeness was a fast food premium item. It came from Hardees in the year 1989, and these are Fisher-Price's Halloween Hideaway smooshies. Now, these were originally $1.29 with a purchase of certain food items, and they glowed in the dark and they're super cute. These are items that I actually bought not too long ago off of eBay because I had fond memories of them, and I was surprised and very shocked that it was 1989. I thought I was a lot younger and sporting these guys. But anyway, enough of me talking about this. Let's take a look at the original commercial.
Now when you come to Hardee's, you can buy one glow-in-the-dark Halloween Hideaway for just $1.29 with every purchase of hash rounds or any dessert. There'll be a different Halloween Hideaway each week, 4 in all.
Oh, that was fast.
You can only get them for a limited time, and you can't get them anywhere else but Hardee's.
Our fourth item isn't tied to any franchise or cartoon or toy line. It is something wholly original. It is something that you can actually put together, and it is the Headlight Skull Glow Kit, released by Monogram. Now this model kit, well, let me just read off this bit from a catalog entry. It says, full-size skull with movable toothy choppers. Eye sockets are anything but dead. Flick a switch and the twin flash beams become sinister, red, pinpoint eyes. Flick another switch, the eyes flicker with an eerie strobe effect. A trigger controls jaws. All this in a terrific snap-together model kit. I mean, that sounds pretty awesome. So, of course, it had to be added to the awesomeness list. And monster, yeah, we'll say that spooky, eye-glowing skulls count as monsters. Now, another cool thing about this was that it actually glowed in the dark, so if your batteries died, you still had an awesome light source. Our fifth entry was something I could only find one of. One mention, one listing, one anything. It is the My Pet Monster cereal bowl, released by Decca in 1986. And this features awesome artwork of the whole cast and characters of the My Pet Monster universe, even that football player guy. And I love how the slogan on this bowl is, getting ready for a good time. I mean, sitting down and eating some cereal out of this bowl would be the definition of a good time. Okay, I apologize for double dipping, because this is another item from Gremlins. This time around, this is the Gizmo alarm clock. And yeah, I love Gizmo. I wanted a pet Mogwai growing up. And of course, I would take care of it better than Billy did. And as much as I love Gizmo, waking up to this thing staring at me would scare the crap out of me. Now, Mogwais, do they really fall into the monster category? Yes, of course they do. This next forgotten 80s awesomeness monster playset is from Play-Doh, and it was released in 1984. This is Count Creepyhead and Friends. And Friends equates to different heads that he can put on that you can squirt Play-Doh into, and then cut away with this battle axe that he came with. I mean, how awesome is that? And I mean, I loved Play-Doh growing up. Never got to really play with it because my parents thought it was way too messy, but man, I would have loved to have this set. And I mean, I can't do it justice, so here is the original commercial.
Welcome to my creepy Play-Doh party.
It's the Play-Doh Count Creepyhead and Friends playset.
Awesome! To do that, squish in the Play-Doh, pick a mask, twist it on, and... Ooh, now I'm the werewolf. Creepy!
The Play-Doh Count Creepyhead and Friends playset comes with 4 masks and everything you see here. New from Kenner.
Our next item was something that encompassed a lot of different franchises, a lot of different just pop culture toys and cartoons and what have you. But they also had a monster selection. These are bow biters, and these were released in 1987. Now, here's just a little sampling of some of their monster bow biters. And if you remember what bow biters were, you actually clip them onto your shoelaces. And I mean, I assume they helped your shoes to stay tied. And they just looked awesome. So I think these are pretty cool. Number 9 comes from Dungeons and Dragons, from a company called NSI, and this was released in 1983. But these are Dungeons and Dragons Cool candles. Now, they're not called cool because they are cool. They were called cool because they required no heat to melt the wax to make these candles, so they were safe for kids. Now, this came with 5 different molds. You had a dwarf, an elf, an orc, a unicorn, and a dragon. So you got a couple humanoids and a couple monsters. So I had to include it on this list because it's just an awesome arts and crafts project from forgotten 80s awesomeness. I mean, I would love to have this. I mean, I'd be burning these candles all over the house. Our last entry on forgotten 80s awesomeness monsters is pajamas. And these pajamas are pretty darn rare because I cannot find them anywhere but in the 1986 JCPenney Christmas catalog. But these are the Madballs pajamas featuring Screaming Mimi. And yeah, like I said, very rare. The only thing that I can even get close to this is a t-shirt that was released in 1986, and that thing goes for $175. So I would assume if someone could get a hold of these pajamas, they would go for that or more. But yeah, pretty awesome, and any kid would have loved to have these. Okay folks, that was 10 bits of random 80s awesomeness from the world of monsters. And as you can see, I couldn't last without my hat. I feel naked not wearing it while I film. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little spot of baldness, and the hat stays. Anyway, like I said, it was very hard to find 10 unique random monster awesomeness bits from the 80s. But we did it, and yeah, some of them I took liberties with, but they're still awesome. They're still chock full of awesomeness, and they come from the 80s. So they fit all the criteria that I'm looking for. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And maybe your comment will get me to take my hat off again. But anyway, if you're new here and you enjoyed this episode or any of the ones that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you will be notified whenever there's new episodes. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. keep being rad, and stay dorky.